naturaleza del Ecuador.
Hello, I'm so glad we can have this conversation today. I am really looking forward to this condense the incredible naturals of Ecuador. IQ Ecuador is truly in biodiversity hotspot. What are some of the most striking natural features on landscapes tal what Matt Ecuador su unique al Facebook in your opinion?
That's a great question. Ecuador is indeed a biodiversity hotspot. One of its most unique natural features is the Galapagos Islands, which are home to species like giant tortoises and marine iguanas. But also on the mainland, you have the Amazon rainforest, the Andes Mountains, and cloud forests. These diverse landscapes, all in a small country, make Ecuador really special and unique in its natural beauty.
Okay. That song is absolutely frequent when you think about the contents you come or perhaps famous natural destination. Work with how do you feel Ecuador's naturals even with comparisons to you think Ecuador is gaining more diversity or perhaps more unique experiences tal somewhere plus you might have heard of or visited?
That's a really interesting point. I think Ecuador stands out because of its variety in such a small space. For example, Costa Rica also has amazing biodiversity, but it's mostly known for its rainforests. Meanwhile, Ecuador has the Amazon, the Andes, the coast, and the Galapagos all together. So, in my opinion, Ecuador offers a more concentrated, diverse natural experience than many other countries.
It's clear that Ecuador holds a special place in terms of global biodiversity, but as with our natures of fast changes, what do you believe are the most important aspects I could or shall be working to protect Ecuador's natural environment for future generations? I was chance to you will be will see anti-county years if we implement things measuring.
I think one of the most important aspects is protecting the fragile ecosystems, like the cloud forests and the Galapagos. If we invest in sustainable tourism, local education, and stricter conservation laws, I truly believe that in 50 years, Ecuador's natural beauty can still be thriving. So, long term investment in both preservation and responsible tourism is key.
Thus are very insufficient ideas for conversation. New leads quintal about saying days about wins the work in you were to advising governments or tourism agencies how do you will Ecuador solve communicate in natural world of international agency what mechanisms will be most offensive effective as was platforms as allowing TOC to make Ecuador globally.
That's a great approach. I would suggest focusing on storytelling, highlighting personal experiences, indigenous cultures, and breathtaking landscapes. I would also recommend partnering with global platforms like National Geographic or the United Nations Environment Program. By using social media, immersive videos, and global travel fairs, we can really make Ecuador stand out as a top natural destination worldwide.
Thus, as we are related in a nice discussion how to work up what future plans do you have rewanting naturalist in Ecuador. Best-wise, I try you are planning or something you will do to contribute or to ends conservation at what's final message you, what you like to convey to you well about Ecuador's nature?
Absolutely. My personal plan is to support local conservation projects, like reforestation efforts in the Amazon and protecting cloud forest reserves. I also plan to volunteer with educational programs that teach kids about biodiversity. In the end, I hope to inspire people by saying that Ecuador's natural wealth is a shared treasure, one we all have a responsibility to protect.
Okay, hay un placer conversación del Ecuador, sus naturales y beneficios para y thank you.
Then
Phrase ChatGPT. You new leak style highlighted about culture can you help with?
Of course. I'd be happy to help. Just let me know what specific aspect of the culture you'd like to focus on, whether it's language, traditions, or maybe indigenous influences, and I can provide more detail and examples for you.
What language I respond in Ecuador?
So, the official language of Ecuador is Spanish, and that's what most people speak. But Ecuador is also incredibly multilingual. There are around 14 indigenous languages spoken, like Quechua, Shuar, and other smaller groups. So, it's really a rich linguistic tapestry in the country.
Wow. That of you many cultures they are.
Exactly. And that's what makes Ecuador so fascinating. There's this deep blend of indigenous heritage alongside Spanish colonial influence. So when you visit, you experience not just one culture, but this vibrant fusion of traditions, languages, and modern life all together.
Which other country speak several language?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, in addition to Ecuador, you can see a lot of indigenous languages still spoken in Bolivia, Peru, and Guatemala, for example. Those countries also have rich indigenous cultures, with Quechua, Aymara, and other languages. So, there's a lot of regional diversity across the Andes.
Do you think some native language in Ecuador are in danger of extinctions?
Yeah, unfortunately, some of them are. Languages like Siona or Tsafiki have very few speakers left, so there's a big effort right now in Ecuador to preserve them, with schools teaching them and communities working to revitalize these languages before they disappear.
What do you think is the cause?
I think one of the key steps is really education, starting with young people, teaching them these languages in schools, and making them part of daily life. Also, using media like radio, apps, and online content can help keep these languages alive and make them more visible to younger generations.
Those days affect the population at once. How do you really think the Ecuador will did you went the disappearing of the language?
I really hope we can prevent it, and I think we still have a chance if we act now. By giving indigenous languages a bigger platform through policy, education, and media, I believe Ecuador can keep these languages alive for future generations. So it really depends on sustained effort and commitment.
Can you have went some tips for preserving native ideas?
Absolutely. One big tip is to integrate these languages into school curriculums so kids learn them from an early age. Another idea is to create community events, like storytelling, music, or festivals in those languages. And of course, digital tools like apps, videos, and podcasts can really help keep them accessible and alive in daily life.
Will I am grateful for your suggestions?
Of course, I'd say start by getting involved in a local cultural center or organization that focuses on language preservation. Also, if you can, document stories or oral histories from native speakers. That kind of archiving is invaluable. And stay curious, keep learning, and keep sharing what you discover.
My final suggestions of recommendation for my nation.
I would say always connect with the local communities and listen to them first. Their voices and knowledge are key. Then keep your efforts sustainable. Small, consistent actions over time really add up. And lastly, stay hopeful because every person who learns and preserves a language is helping keep a vital part of Ecuador's culture alive.
Okay, thank you very much, my friends.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad we got to discuss all of this. If you ever have more questions or ideas, I'm here to help.
Okay, bye bye.